everybody, I'm Tiffany Smith, and we are here to talk DC TV with Rotten Tomatoes Matt Atchity. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing well.
Okay, so obviously we're gonna get into all of the DC TV shows because there are tons of them now. They're
all
so good.
50 of them.
Yeah. So what's going on over at Rotten Tomatoes now?
You know, it's James Bond week. We've got a new James Bond movie, very exciting, a lot of coverage. You can see all the tomato meters of all the movies. I've seen it.
I just keep reading issues of Grayson and being like, this is gonna get me over until I get to see Spectre. It's gonna get me there. All right, so let's get into the newest show that we've got from DC, Supergirl. It premiered. What did you think of the premiere?
I like the premiere. You know, it's really great premiere right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Really big ratings. It's definitely telling its own story. You know, we see some characters we've met before, which I'm really excited about.
Wait, when you're saying we see characters we've met before, are you referring to like Dean Cain playing Kara's adoptive dad that has also played Superman before?
And Helen Slater,
Yep.
who played Supergirl as Supergirl's mom, and then one of Superman's best friends shows up.
The next episode that we're getting to, though, we're gonna get to see Peter Facinelli playing Maxwell Lord. The character made its premiere in Justice League issue 1 back in 1987. So what are you expecting from him in this?
I'm really trying to not have a lot of preconceived notions. This show really impressed me right off the bat. We don't get a super deep origin story. We don't get a montage, which you see all the time. So I'm hesitant to even speculate because I want to be surprised.
And the effects.
Yeah.
Were so good. And Melissa Benoist, she's super charming. I mean, I feel like that's what is winning the show.
Yeah, and I love the dynamic with her sister. That's really good too. I love this show. 97% on the tomato meter, certified fresh. It's one of the best series, one of the best premieres of the news of this fall season.
Let's get into Gotham. This series is doing such a great job and really changing from the format that they had for the first season.
Yeah, this is a really interesting one. We see a lot more Firefly in this. This is a dark story, and this season, this show's gone in a really dark direction that I was not really expecting, but I really like it.
Well, I think a lot of people did get used to the villain of the week kind of thing that was going on in the first season. So this season, us getting a little bit more time with these characters, getting to know them more, like you said, we're gonna get more with Firefly. And in the comics, there were actually two different versions that were both men.
Right, yeah, we're seeing something different. You know, I love what we're seeing with Penguin, with Robin Lord Taylor. He continues to kill it on that show.
I have to say, I've loved his portrayal of Penguin, but the guy who's surprising me the most is Nygma.
Yeah.
We got to see him on his romantic date that seemed like he could hold it together for a hot second.
Yeah, you see elements of Suave Nygma come out. Suave Nygma is really terrifying.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what he's gonna do. And you see elements of that on the date, and then it all goes really, really wrong and really sad.
Yeah.
And I was watching that show. It's rare that a TV show gets this out of me. And there's that moment where he's got his hand on her neck. Spoiler alert, sorry guys.
He kills Kris Kringle, guys. He does it.
And I'm yelling at the TV. Honest to God, Tiffany, I'm yelling at the TV going, Ed, no, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had really bad first dates, second dates.
Never won that
Not
bad.
that bad, not gonna lie. I'm really curious to see how his character is gonna kind of move on from that because he had been walking that fine line of still being a good guy, but then having these moments of craziness where it's, he blurts out, I'm glad he's dead. So now do you think that he's really gonna go over that edge of just being straight up evil?
I think we're gonna see this long-term breakdown, and I hadn't realized, especially in the first season, that we were gonna see this long character study of how someone becomes a character like the Riddler, and this show is absolutely earning that.
And then going to a show where there's another character who has kind of two halves.
Yes.
Let's talk about Flash and Firestorm.
We're seeing kind of the return of Firestorm, so to speak, the Jax Jackson version. I like the narrative that they were telling about the other candidate and how that kind of goes a little bit sideways. I'm looking forward to seeing more of that character as we're gonna see him in Legends of Tomorrow. It's really exciting.
Well, two things on that. I love the fact that they didn't just make one guy be the perfect fit. It was, we have to kind of see if there's anybody there, and then they did have two trials to kind of test them both out. And then obviously from that, what I think Flash is doing so well is giving us little snippets and introductions to the characters that we're gonna get to know a lot better on Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, and I like that Barry at one point turns to Snart and says, there's more good in you than you want to cop to. And I like that. That was a great moment, right? I love that we're seeing a deeper character out of Snart than you may have expected from the first season.
And again, this show consistently introduces us to new characters that some comic book readers might know pretty well, but we're gonna get to see Dr. Light.
I have that comic book, or used to. I had that comic book. I had the full run of the Crisis on Infinite Earths. I remember that introduction to that character, and she was an angry character.
Do you think we're gonna get a character very similar to that, or do you think they're gonna kind of tweak it?
I think that we'll see some tweak on it. I think they'll get the core of it, but what's great great is we'll see the writers take what's really interesting and what works for the story they're telling in the bigger picture. So I'm looking forward to what we're going to see out of Dr. Light.
There's always shockers. I like to call them Holy Harrison moments.
Yes.
Which there was.
But
there was also a Holy King Shark moment.
King Shark, shocking. To see fully formed, that effect was fantastic. Like, I really think that we hopefully will see more King Shark.
All right, now moving on to iZombie. This show has definitely hit its stride. I love seeing every single week Liv kind of, well, one, I like seeing her cook the brains because I think there could be a whole cooking show just about how she prepares it.
Right, when are we getting the
episode?
Liv More cookbook?
Seriously. But I love seeing the kind of dynamic that she does every episode. And the latest one, we got to see her as a country singer.
Yeah, that was really fun. And she can sing.
Yeah.
Right? She can sing. It was a great song. You know, I love watching the continuing development of the relationships between her and Major, and Major and Ravi. This show continues to impress me. Really solid start to the season.
So for a lot of people who watch these shows too, they kind of ship certain romances. If you had to ship a romance on iZombie, which would it be?
God, that's a good question. You know, I feel like they keep getting to them. They keep mixing things up, right? So, you know, the one that would probably be the messiest would be Major and Peyton, right? That would be a huge mess for everybody involved.
Yeah, that
Just
would
saying.
be. That would be like a bomb going off. I'm gonna say I think I still am a Major and Liv fan, but what I really enjoy about the show is that they didn't kind of mend all the relationships super quickly. It has taken some time. It has taken a couple episodes, and we're still not there yet. They just had a Major kiss moment, which who knows what's gonna happen after that? Are they gonna ignore it? Are they gonna talk about it? Who knows?
Right, right. And you know, at what point does Liz's new roommate figure that out? Like, that's
because they just had a thing.
Yeah.
Major and the new roommate.
Right, you can see the season's bombs being set all along. It's gonna be great to see those pay off.
I can't wait. And next up, the fan favorite, I think, that started off all of the DC TV awesomeness, Arrow.
Yeah.
Brought some new characters back in this last episode. There was a lot of emotion going on. I think I will say some of the best acting that we've seen on the show to date.
I like this episode a lot. You know, you knew it was gonna be a problem with Thea, right? You saw the hints of that last season. And sure enough, she's acting out after being in the Lazarus pit. What did you expect when you bring somebody back like that? Good, interesting moments with Captain Lance and, you know, wondering what he's getting into. You know, this is a character that you continually see him kind of knock himself back over the mistakes he's made, and he's in the middle of making this catastrophic mistake. Right, and you think, oh yeah, you know, you're gonna pay off for that one.
Well, and I think that what's great about his character too is that usually on these shows you have the heroes and you have the villains. And even with the character of Oliver from Arrow to Green Arrow, you've seen that he's kind of in a gray area. He killed people at the beginning, he's decided he's not gonna do that, and with Detective Lance, it's the same kind of story where he thinks he's doing the right thing, but he's put himself in this position that's gonna make him do some things that he doesn't necessarily agree with.
Yeah, and you know, I love seeing Katie Lotz come back.
Well, and again, as we talked about before, just dropping hints to get us ready for Legends of Tomorrow, and that's another one right there.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm getting more and more excited about Legends of Tomorrow.
And with all of these shows, what I think is so fun, we get to have little teasers and, you know, characters from other DC TV shows. This week, we have a character that everyone went crazy on social media for hashtag Save Constantine. We're gonna get to see John Constantine on Arrow. We're starting to get more characters that they can bring into that show that have what Flash would call metahuman powers.
Yeah, early on in Arrow, you know, you see it's still this very grounded reality, and they're getting closer to kind of embracing that metahuman, like really, let's get into the comic book. Like, yes, we have Green Arrow, yes, we have Speedy, let's go all in on this.
And now talking about all of these characters, I love asking you, who do you think is the bad apple of the week that we should be keeping our eye on?
This week I gotta go with John Constantine, and not so much that he's a bad guy, but where John goes, trouble follows. He is a trouble magnet, and if he shows up on Arrow, you know hell's coming with him, so to speak.
It's true. He is also known as Hellblazer.
Right.
So
he may not want to bring it with him, but sometimes it just shows up anyway.
yeah, every time he tries to use his magic, there's usually some kind of a consequence that follows. He is an anti-hero, so I just love him anyway. That cigarette-smoking, trench-coat-wearing hero. All right, well, thank you so much for hanging out with us and chatting DC TV.
Oh, thanks for having me.
That's the latest on DC TV, so make sure you don't miss this week's brand new episodes of Supergirl, iZombie, Flash, Arrow, and Gotham.
Plus, make sure you follow DC Comics on Instagram because they've had people left and right taking over their Instagram account to give you a behind-the-scenes look at all your favorite DC projects. Like, and you.
I did it.